we are discussing the subject is power system architecture. Okay, so now in this class we are discussing the our 5th unit general aspects of distribution systems and substation. In previous class we have to see the classification of distributions and what is the AC distribution and what are the types of AC distribution and what is the DC distribution and what are the types of DC distributions. Okay, now in this class we have to see the comparisons of AC distribution systems and DC distribution systems. See here. See here. Comparison of DC and AC distribution. Okay, so now in this class we have to see the comparisons between the DC and AC distribution system. See here, the electric power can be distributed either by means of DC or AC. Okay, so either, so according to our convenience, we have to distribute the electrical power, that is either DC or AC. Each system, either that is DC system or AC system, each system having its own merits and demerits. See here, first you have to see the DC distribution advantages, disadvantages, and next we have to see the AC distribution system advantages and disadvantages. First, DC distribution advantages. See here, in the first advantages, it requires only 2 conductors as compared to 3 for AC distribution. So in DC distribution, okay, in DC distribution, the distribution system requires only 2 conductors, but for AC, it requires 3 conductors. Okay, so that means at that time it is advantage. Why? Because whenever you have to see the 2 conductors at coin cost of view, the cost will be decreases in DC distribution compared to the AC distribution system. See here, in DC distribution system, there is no inductance, capacitance, phase displacement and surge problems in DC distribution. Okay, DC distribution, there will be no inductance, capacitance and phase displacement. If suppose 3 phases, you have to displacement occurs between any 2 phases. But here you have only 2 wires, single wire. Okay, so that's why there will be no inductance, capacitance, phase displacement and such problems in DC distribution systems. See here, due to absence of inductance. Okay, there will be no inductance in the DC distribution system. Okay, so that's why due to the absence of inductance, the voltage drop in DC distribution line is less than the AC line. Okay, so that's why the voltage drop. Okay, so the voltage drop will be occurs is in DC distribution is line is less than the AC line for the same load. Okay, same load and sending a voltage. Okay, so for the same load. Okay, for this reason DC distribution line has better voltage regulations. Okay, so that's why here you have to say that the DC distribution system having the better voltage regulation. And here similarly there is no skin effect in a DC distribution system. Okay, there will be also a no skin effect in DC distribution system. Therefore, entire cross section of the line conductor is utilized. Okay, so the total, okay, so the total cross section of the line conductor will be utilized. Okay, as well as there will be a no skin effect. So skin effect in the DC system. For the same working voltage, the potential stress on the insulation is less in case of DC system than in the AC system. If suppose we have to see the same voltage, okay, for the DC and AC, compare these 2 systems, the potential stress on the insulation, okay, the potential stress on the insulation is less in DC system compared to the AC system. Therefore, the DC line requires less insulation. Okay, so that's why here you have to say that the DC line, okay, here the DC line will requires the less insulation compared to the AC distribution. And here a DC line has less corona loss and reduced interference with communication circuits. Okay, as well as in DC line. Okay, in DC lines, okay, the corona effect is also less. Okay, less corona and reduced interference with the communication lines, and as well as there will be less interference with communication circuits. Okay, the high voltage DC distribution is free from dielectric losses, particularly in the case of cables. Okay, whenever you have to use the high voltage DC distribution, and it is a free from electric losses. Okay, so there will be a no electric losses, particularly in case of a cables. Okay, in DC distribution there are no stability problems and synchronizing difficulties. Okay, that means no fluctuations will be occurs. Okay, so these are the advantages of the DC distribution system. Okay, what are the advantages? It requires only 2 conductors. Okay, compared to the AC distribution. Okay, as well as there is no inductance, capacitance and phase displacement and such problems in DC distribution. Okay, so due to the absence of inductance, voltage DC distribution having a better voltage regulation. Okay, there will be no skin effect, as well as the potential stress on the insulation is also less in DC distribution, less corona losses, and it is having a reduced interference with communication lines, as well as the high voltage DC distribution is free from dielectric losses. Okay, so these are the advantages. Coming to the disadvantages of DC distribution system. See here, electric power cannot be generated at high DC voltage due to the commutation problems. Okay, so electrical power. So always so when you have to compare the AC power and DC power, the electric power cannot be generated at high DC voltages due to the commutation problems. The DC voltage cannot be stepped up for the distribution of power at high voltages. Okay, and it is also not possible to step up and step down the DC voltage. And here the DC switches and circuit breakers have their own limitations. Okay, here what are the switches and circuit breakers are used in the DC distribution. So these having their own limitations. AC distribution. Okay, so next we have to see the next here you have to see the AC distribution advantages and disadvantages. See here, advantages. The power can be generated at high voltages. Okay, in AC distribution advantages, the power. Okay, so here you have to generate it up to 400 volts. Okay, the power can be generated at high voltages, and the maintenance of AC substation is easy and cheaper. Okay, compared to the DC, okay, the maintenance of AC substation will be easy and cheaper. The AC voltage can be stepped up or stepped down by transformer. Okay, by using according to our convenience, the AC voltage either may be stepped up and stepped down by using the transformers with easy and efficiency. Okay, this permits to transmit the power at high voltages and distribute at a safe potentials. Okay, and so this permits. Okay, this permits to transmit the power at high voltages and distribute it safe potentials. Okay, so these are the advantages of a AC distribution. Okay, so what are the advantages of a AC distribution? The power can be generated at high voltages. The power of AC substation is easy and cheaper. The AC voltages can be stepped up or stepped down by transformers with easy and efficiency, and as well as this permits to transmit the power at high voltages and distribute it at safe potential. Okay, coming to the disadvantages. AC line requires more copper than a DC line. Okay, so if suppose you have to use the conductors is the copper. Okay, so at that time the AC lines. Okay, so the AC lines will require the more copper than the DC line. And similarly here the construction of a AC distribution line is complicated than a DC distribution line. Okay, as well as the construction. Okay, so the construction of a AC distribution line is more complicated compared to the DC distribution line. Okay, similarly here due to skin effect in the AC system, the effective resistance of the line is increased. Okay, so compulsory there will be a corona effect and skin effect in AC systems. Okay, so that's why the effective resistance of the line will be increases. An AC line has capacitance. Okay, here AC lines having compulsory inductance and capacitance. Okay, so that's why there is a continuous loss of power due to charging current even when the line is open. So even whenever the lines are in open position also, okay, there will be a continuous. Okay, there will be a continuous loss of power. Okay, due to charging current even when the line is open. Okay, so these are the advantages and the disadvantages of the AC distribution. Next, we have to see the overhead versus underground system. Okay, so what is the difference? What is the difference between the overhead and underground system? See here, the distribution system can be overhead or underground. Okay, see here, overhead lines are generally mounted on wooden or concrete or steel poles which are arranged to carry the distribution transformers in addition to the conductors. Okay, so overhead means overhead lines are generally mounted on a wooden, either a wooden or concrete or steel poles. Okay, which arranged to carry the distribution transformers in addition to the conductors. See here, the underground system use the conductors, cables, okay, and manholes under the surface of a streets or side walls. Okay, so underground means it also uses the conductors or cables or manholes holes under the surface of the street. Okay, the choice between the overhead and underground system depend upon the number of widely differing factors. Okay, to choose, either you require either underground system or the overhead system. Okay, that will be, it depends upon a number of widely differing factors. See, what are the factors will differing the overhead and underground system means, here we have to see. First one, public safety. See here, the underground system is more safe than overhead system. Okay, whenever you have to say, you have to take the public safety as a factor. At the time, the underground system is more safe compared to the overhead system, because all distribution wiring is placed underground and there are little chances of any hazard. Okay. Total in underground system, total all the wires will be placed in the underground. Okay, so that at that time there will be little chances to the any hazard. Okay, initial cost. Okay, compared to the initial cost, the underground system is more expensive due to the high cost of trenching conductors, conducting cables, manholes and other special equipment. Okay, the underground system is more efficient, more expensive compared to the overhead system. Okay, because of high cost of trenching. Okay, to place the underground means you have to first trench the earth. Okay, conducting cables and manholes and other special equipment will require for the underground system. The initial cost of underground system may be 5 times more than that of a overhead system. So compared to the overhead system, so the underground system is 5 times, the underground system cost is 5 times more than that of the overhead system. So next we have to see the flexibility. Okay, whenever you have to see the flexibility, the overhead system is much more flexible than the underground system. Okay, whenever you have to take the flexibility factor, okay, whenever you have to compare the both overhead system and underground system, see here the overhead system is much more flexible than the underground system. In the later case, manholes, duct lines, etc. are permanently placed once installed, and load expansion can only met by laying new lines. Okay. See here, in the later case, manholes, duct lines, etc. are permanently placed on the installed and loaded. Okay, so here manholes and duct lines are permanently is placed once installed, and the load expansion can only be met by the laying new lines. Whenever the load will be increases, so at that time you have to laying the new lines. However, an overhead system, poles, wires, transformers, etc. can easily shifted to meet the changing load conditions. Okay. So the overhead system is much more flexible than the underground system. Similarly, in underground system, manholes, duct lines, etc. are permanently placed once installed. If you have to expand the load in future cases, so at that time you have to newly laying another new line. But in the overhead system, poles, wires, transformers, etc. can easily shifted to meet the changing in load conditions. According to the load conditions, changing in load conditions, okay, we have to shift. Okay, we have to easily shift the poles, wires, transformers, etc. according to the our required load conditions. Okay, next one, faults. Okay, whenever we have to see the faults, okay, see here the chances of faults in underground system are very rare. Okay, so the faults occurs in the underground systems are very rare, as the cables are laid underground and are generally provided with better insulations. Okay, so the chances are compared to the overhead system, the underground cables means these are placed under the earth. Okay, so with better insulation. Okay, so at that time the chances of faults in underground systems are very rare as the cables are laid underground are generally provided with better insulation. Next one, appearance. Okay, coming to the appearance, see here the general appearance of underground system is better as all the distribution lines are visible. Okay, so coming to the appearance, the general appearance of underground system is a better as all distribution lines are invisible. Okay, so these are invisible, so that's why general appearance is better. This fact is exerting considerable public pressure on the electrical supply companies to switch over the underground system. Okay, this factor, this appearance factor will exerting considerable public pressure on electrical supply companies to switch to the overground over to the underground systems. Okay. So next one, fault location. Next one is what? Fault location and repairs. See here, in general, there are little chances of faults in underground system. Okay, so there will be little chances to occur the faults in the underground system. However, if a fault does occur, it is difficult to locate and repair the system. So chances of the fault is less, but once the fault will be occurs, it is very difficult to locate the fault and repair that fault. On an overhead system, the conductors are visible and easily accessible so that fault locations and repairs can be easily made. Overhead means it is visible. Okay, so that's why the conductors are visible. So at that time it is easily accessible to, that means it is easy to estimate where the fault will be occurs. That means fault location and repairs can be easily made. Okay, next one, current carrying capacity and voltage drop. Okay, an overhead distribution conductor has a considerably high current carrying capacity than an underground cable conductor of same material and cross section. Okay, overhead distribution conductor has a considerably higher current carrying capacity. An underground cable conductor of the same material and the same cross section. Okay, so compared to the, suppose if you take the one conductor have the same size as the same material and cross section, an overhead conductor having a considerably high current carrying capacity compared to the underground cable. On the other hand, underground cable conductor has much lower inductive reactance than on the overhead conductor because of closer spacing of conductors. And here the inductive reactance of the underground cables is also less compared to the overhead conductors because these all conductors are closely spacing in the under the earth. Next one, useful life. See here, the useful life of underground system is much longer than that of an overhead system. So the underground system is much longer, life longer than the overhead system. An overhead system may have a useful life of 25 years, whereas an underground system may useful life more than 50 years. If suppose if at a time it's once at a same year we have to construct the overhead system and underground system, that overhead system having life of 25 years, but the underground system having the life of more than 50 years. Why? Because the overhead system having it is visible and placed in the weather environment. Okay, so due to the environmental changes, okay, due to the dust particles, all of this, the lifespan of these overhead conductors will be decreases. Okay, so that's why here we have to say that an overhead system may have a useful life of 25 years. Okay, but has an underground system has a useful life of more than 50 years. Okay, so next we have to see the maintenance cost. Okay, maintenance cost. See here, the maintenance cost of underground system is very low as compared to that of overhead system. Okay, so to maintain the overhead system, cost will be underground system. The maintenance cost of the underground system is also low because there will be less chance of fault occurs in the underground system. Okay, and service interruptions from the wind, ice, lightning as well as from the traffic hazards. Okay, so there will be no effect of wind, ice, lightning as well as traffic hazards on the underground cables. Okay, so that's why the maintenance of the underground cables is very low compared to the overhead systems. Okay, so next one is what? Interference with communication circuits. Okay, so interference of the communication circuits. See here, an overhead system. Okay, so an overhead system causes electromagnetic interference with the telephone lines. Okay, So there will be electromagnetic interference as well as the power line currents are superimposed on speech currents, resulting in the potential of the communication channel being raised to an unreachable level. Okay, so that means whenever there will be a interference with the telephone lines, at that time the power line currents are superimposed speech currents, resulting in the potential of the communication channel being raised on the unreachable level. So however, there is no such interference with the underground system. So there will be a no interference of the communication circuits with the underground system. See here, these all are the factors, okay, affect the overhead or underground. See, from these all factors, it is clear from the above comparison that each system has its own advantages and disadvantages. Whenever we have to see the either underground or underground or overhead system, each system having its own advantages as well as the disadvantages. Okay, so this is about the overhead versus underground system. Okay, next we have to see the design considerations in the distribution system. Okay, so next we have to see the design considerations in a distribution system. See here, good voltage regulation of a distribution network is probably the most important factor responsible for delivering good service to the consumers. Good voltage regulation, okay, to distribute the good voltage, okay, that means good voltage regulation of a distribution network is probably the most important factor. Okay, so it is a most important factor and responsible for delivering good service to the consumer. Okay, for this purpose, design of feeders and distributors requires a careful consideration. Okay, so that's why here design of feeders as well as the distributors requires a careful consideration. See here, feeder. Okay, a feeder is designed from the point of view its current carrying capacity, while the voltage drop consideration is relatively unimportant. Okay, feeder. Whenever you have to take a feeder is designed from the design. The feeder is designed from the point of view and its current carrying capacity, while the voltage drop is relatively unimportant. Okay, so from the the feeder is, whenever you have to design the feeder, the most important factor you have to take in is current carrying capacity, while the voltage drop consideration is unimportant. It is because voltage drop in a feeder can be compensated by the voltage by means of voltage regulating equipment at the substation. See here. So whenever whenever there will be any voltage drops occurs in a feeder, that voltage drops can be compensated by means of a voltage regulating equipment at the substations. Okay, so next one is distributor. A distributor is designed from the point of view voltage drop in it. Okay, so feeder is designed in the point of a current carrying capacity, but the distributor is designed in the point of a voltage drop. Okay, it is because distributor supplies power to the consumer. There is a statutory limit of voltage variations at the consumer terminals of plus or minus 6% of the rated value. Up to whenever you have to take the rated voltages, for example 230 volts, so there will be no any up to 6%, there will be either 6% maybe increases or 6% maybe decreases. That means plus or minus 6% of voltage fluctuations may be occurs. Okay, the size and length of the distributor should be such that voltage at the consumer terminals within the permissible limits. Okay, whenever you have to take the size, okay, size and length of the distributor, so at that time the voltage at the consumer terminals within the permissible limits. Okay, next one, requirements of a distribution systems. Okay, so whenever you have to arrange the distribution system, what are the requirements? Okay, see here, requirements of a good distribution system are proper voltage, availability of power on demand and reliability. Okay, these are the requirements of a distribution system. Okay, what are the main requirements of a distribution system? The requirements of a distribution systems are proper voltage. Okay, proper voltage, availability of power on demand. Okay, and reliability. See here, proper voltage. One important requirement of a distribution system is the voltage varies at the consumer terminals should be as low as possible. So what are the main requirement to maintain is the changes, okay, the variations in the consumer terminal voltage should be as possible as low. The changes in the voltage are generally caused due to the variations in the load on the system. So generally, why there will be changes in the voltage will be occurs means due to the variations in the load on the system. Okay, so if suppose whenever there will be any variations will be occurs on the load on the system, so at that time the voltage value may be varies. Low voltage causes loss of revenue, inefficient lighting, and possible burning of motors. So whenever low voltage will be occurs, that low voltage will be cause the revenue, inefficient lighting. Okay, so that at the time the lighting will be not efficient as and possible of burning of the motor. Okay, and it also causes to burn the motor. So here high voltage causes lamps to burn out permanently and may cause failure of other appliances. If suppose low voltage means these problems. Okay, if suppose whenever high voltage may causes, whenever high voltage will be occurs, so at that time that high voltage causes the lamps to burn out permanently. Okay, it causes to burn the lamps permanently and may cause failure of other appliances. Okay, and it may be also cause to burn the other appliances. Therefore, a good distribution system should ensure that the voltage variations at the consumer terminals are within permissible limit. Okay, whenever you have to take a good distribution system is at that time you have to ensure the voltage variations of the consumer terminals within the permissible limits. The statutory limit. Okay, already in previously we have to discuss. Okay, the statutory limit of voltage variations is plus or minus 6% of the rated value. Okay, rated value at the consumer's terminals. Okay, thus if the declared voltage is 230 volts, then the highest voltage of consumers should be exceed 244 volts, while the lowest voltage of the consumer should not be less than 216 volts. Okay, suppose voltage may be high voltage occurs, so at the time the voltage will not exceed up to 244 volts. If suppose voltage value will be reduced at the consumer point of view, so at that time it should not be less than the 260 volts. Okay, so this is the one of the requirement of a distribution system. So next we have to see the availability of power and demand. Okay, according to the our demand. Okay, according to the our power demand, there will be either the power will be available or not. You can see here, power must be available to the consumers in any amount they may require to time. Okay, so here the power must be available to the consumers in any amount. Okay, they require time to time. Okay, for example, motors may be started or shut down, lights may be turned on or off without warning to the electric supply company. Okay, suppose the electrical motor started or shut down, lights may be turned on, turn off without advance warning to the electrical company. Okay, supply company. And electrical energy cannot be stored. Therefore, the distribution system must be capable of supplying the low demand of the consumers. Okay, here there is no possible to store the electrical energy. So that's why according to the consumers demand, here you have to you have to distribute the electrical energy. Okay, this necessitates that operating staff must continuously study load patterns to predict in advance these major load changes to follow the no schedules. Okay, so that's why here the staff, okay, we are working in staff or continuously study the load patterns. Okay, in which time period you require which load. Okay, and major load change and know the major load changes. According to that changes, here you have to distribute the power. Okay, so this is the one of the requirement of a distribution system. What is that one? Availability of the power on demand. So, and what is the last requirement? Reliability. Okay, see here, modern industry is almost dependent on the electrical power for its operation. Okay, so industries are compulsory depending upon the electrical power for its operation. Homes and office buildings are lighted, heated, cooled and ventilated by electrical power. Either you have to take either homes or office buildings, these all are either lighting or heated or cooled or ventilated due to because of the electrical power. This call for reliable service. Okay, so this is called reliable service. Unfortunately, electrical power, like everything else that is a man-made, can never absolutely reliable. Okay, so this electrical power is also man-made. Okay, so that's why you can say that this is a absolute reliable. However, the reliability can be improved to considerable extent by a interconnected system, reliable automatic control system providing additional reserve facilities. Okay, so you cannot say that man-made. So here you have to. We have to make a electricity by man-made. Okay, that's why here we cannot say that that is absolutely reliable. Okay, that's why it can be improved to a considerable extent by connecting an interconnected system or a reliable automatic control system or providing a additional reserved facilities. Okay, so these are the main requirements of a distribution system. What are those? Proper voltage, availability of power and demand, and reliability. Okay, so in next class we have to see the connecting schemes of a distribution system. Okay, so now in this class we are discussing about the comparisons of AC distribution and DC distributions, overhead versus underground system, and requirements of a distribution system. Okay, so next class we have to discussing the connection schemes of a distribution system. Thank you. All of you, please subscribe this video.